Hey everybody, it's GobletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today will be the weekly Midweek Magic event, this time for the On the Edge format. On the Edge is standard using only the three most recent sets. So standard using only Innistrad Midnight Hunt, Innistrad Crimson Vow, and Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, the three sets that are currently in standard that will not be rotating this fall. So it's going to be a bit of a sneak preview at the future standard format, what things are going to be like in standard without Battle for Zendikar, Call Time, Strixhaven, and Adventures in the Forgotten Realms. But without having Streets of New Capenna and Dominar United in here, we're not going to know 100% for sure if the kind of decks that are good in this format are still going to be good by the time standard rotation happens. So it's kind of its unique little time capsule. It's its own format that isn't going to be super representative of current standard and not going to be super representative of future standard. Either way, should be a fun time, as all the midweek Magic events tend to be. Just nice to hop in, grab the free rewards, and get out of here. So without further ado, let's show off the deck I'll be running today. I'm going to be going with a mono blue tempo deck today because all of my dailies care about like blue or green spells, and I've already done a lot of green decks lately, so we're going to be using a mono blue deck. And mono blue tempo decks are about as aggressive as a mono blue deck can get. It is still very controlling. It's control and aggro all in one deck. It's tempo. You're going to be dumping your cheap creatures onto the board like Delver of Secrets, trying to get that to flip as quickly as possible, so you just have some nice evasive damage going on. Or of course, just jam out some flying spirits like Spectral Adversary, Dream Shackle Geist, or the unblockable Suspicious Stowaway. Once you have an unblockable creature on board, all you want to do all game long is stop your opponent from doing anything. You're going to be holding up counter spells like Spell Pierce to protect your creatures from wrath effects and removal. Cards like Fading Hope, if your opponent does manage to resolve a creature of their own, bounce it back to their hand. Essence Capture, of course, to counter their creatures while speeding up your clock, starting to do more damage to them. Geistlight Snare being able to counter anything, and it is kind of a mana leak in this deck because we do run 8 spirits, and if we have a spirit on the board, this only costs 2 mana. We have Memory Deluge to refuel, make sure that we still have counterspells left over late in the game, and a couple Invoke the Winds as our only 2 removal spells, because we're hoping to be able to just bounce things or phase them out or counter them. We also have 4 Consider, so the 4 Consider and 3 Memory Deluge. I like having just some instant speed ways to draw some cards. That way, if you're holding up a counterspell and you don't need to counter anything, you still have something great to do with your mana. Creatures that have flash help with that as well. However, the only flash creatures we have in the deck are Spectral Adversary, but Spectral Adversary can be quite the powerful creature to hold up late game when you need to hold up a counter spell, because then if you don't counter it, if it is late game and you have 5 or 6 mana on board, you can just dump all of that mana into putting a bunch of counters on this, potentially phasing out some permanents as well. So nice flexible little deck here. We're just, again, dumping creatures out and then holding mana up for whatever kind of instant speed shenanigans we want to do. And yeah, hopefully we can keep the game on lock just long enough to beat our opponent down with our flyers. So without further ado, let's hop into the gameplay. Alright, so here we are in game 1, and I am going to take the mulligan here. We're just not doing anything proactive until turn 3. If I'm just sitting here holding up Spell Pierces and our opponent's on an aggressive creature-based deck, they're going to easily outrace us. So I'm going to go ahead and mulligan this. And this hand looks a lot better to me against creature decks. This hand doesn't do a ton against more controlling decks, but Memory Deluge can help us get back in the game. Definitely not worth another mulligan after this, I think, and I'm going to keep 3 lands in hand to help get us towards that Memory Deluge. We're only running about 20 to 22 lands in here. I don't remember the exact number. Yeah, we're running 20 lands in here, so don't want to get rid of a land when I've got the 4-drop in hand. We are against a more aggressive deck here. They start with a turn 1 Rabbit Battery, which has haste and can reconfigure to give a different creature haste. So certainly glad I mulliganed away the first hand with a couple Spell Pierces and no action. Voldaren Epicure, turn 2. Doing a damage to us and giving them a blood token. Probably just a mono red aggro deck here, it's looking like. Epicure is actually a really fun card in Pauper. There's a Rakdos burn deck that uses a lot of Madness burn spells. That's really cool. We did manage to flip our Delver turn 1, which is always phenomenal. Just going to start jamming in with it, probably. We can Fading Hope this Epicure, but they do deal another damage to us and get another blood token. If we do that, I might just want to play Stowaway for now. I'm not too concerned. Because if I bounce Epicure, they can just recast it and give it haste again. +1/+1 again. Save our Fading Hope for a larger threat later. A little worried in this matchup, our opponent is going to have a lot of cheap burn to get rid of our creatures pretty easily, such as Play with Fire here to kill our Suspicious Stowaway. Bloodthirsty Adversary is the next play. Just attack us for 4 with haste. Yeah, mono red decks are definitely going to be a really tough matchup for a tempo deck because they have so many just 1 and 2 mana spells. A lot of the power in these tempo decks is trying to get your opponent to have to kind of skip a turn, recasting a big 3 or 4 mana card that they just cast a turn previously with something like Fading Hope. We can Geistlight Snare this, but then we can't hold anything else up. I kind of think we have to here. Got to be able to trade off with that Bloodthirsty Adversary, I think. Definitely can't outrace at this point. Yep, and they still have got the more cheap burn. Just looks like it's going to be a quick loss in round 1. We have to Fading Hope. All of their creatures have great enter the battlefield effects too, so Fading Hope is also pretty bad here. We're just going to give them another blood token or give them another opportunity to cast an instant or sorcery from the grave with the Bloodthirsty Adversary's kicker effect. Do get to scry 1. There's the land for the Memory Deluge, but if we tap out to draw some cards here, we are just dying, so let's slap that to the bottom here. Take the trade we can get. Or another Play with Fire. There's a Spell Pierce. They hit for 5 exactly. We have nothing to stop that. Well, we can Essence Capture. We can Essence Capture, go to 2 life here. Stop their draw spell here. Dreamshackle Geist. That just barely survives if they draw dead here. Actually, no, they can reconfigure. We're just dead on board because they can reconfigure the Rabbit Battery. So they spend 2 mana to play their 2/2 haste and spend 1 mana to split off the Rabbit Battery and attack us with 3 creatures, all with at least 1 power. Or they just draw a Trampler. That works too. We are on the play here. We do have a turn 2 Spectral Adversary, Fading Hope, and double Essence Capture. Pretty great hand against creature decks. See how it pans out for us. Mountain turn 1 from our opponent. A little concerned here. Our mono red matchup is not good, as we saw last game. Because we're going to tap out anyway here, I might as well play the sorcery speed creature so I can hold up Spectral Adversary on future turns and then only cast it if I don't need to counter something. Looks like Rakdos is the matchup here. Bare minimum. Mountain and Swamp from our opponent. They're now waiting here. Turn 2, thinking on what they want to cast. They are going to Clawing Torment the Suspicious Stowaway. It is very dead. And a Reinforced Ronin from our opponent. Slam in for 2. This looks like a Rakdos aggro build here. A lot of Kamigawa Neon Dynasty Draft All-Stars. Unfortunately, 1 mana away from casting Spectral Adversary and Essence Capture at the same time. That would be good. I am going to Essence Capture this Patchwork Automaton because it does have Ward once it hits the board. And I would rather not have to spend 3 mana to Fading Hope that in the future once it gets bigger. Let's just permanently kill it right now, especially because it is quite a good synergy with the Reinforced Ronin that they'll keep recasting every turn, putting another counter on the Patchwork Automaton with that. Alright, let's get our 4th land here so we can cast Spectral Adversary and then Essence Capture to put a counter on it here. Kumano faces Kakazan. We are taking some damage. That will be putting a counter on the next creature they cast next turn, and then they will be getting a 2/2 haste. Cemetery Gatekeeper. Alright, I'm not that worried about that, but I would still like to Essence Capture that, get a counter on Adversary here, and start jamming in for damage. There's another Spectral Adversary in hand. Very nice. So we can use this to protect our first adversary. If they attempt to remove it, we can phase it from existence for a turn. So we've got a great response to removal, and a great response to a creature. We'll just toss the creature back in their hand. So Lizard Blades it is, with a +1/+1 counter from Kumano faces Kakazan, which is pretty scary. 2/2 double strike. Take the 2 from Reinforced Ronin. Do we want to make a 3/2 adversary? I think I would rather make a 3/2 adversary than Fading Hope the Lizard Blades right now, because I can just Fading Hope it later. Right now we've got Otawara or Fading Hope. Don't think I'm playing a Dream Shacklegeist here. Just slam in for 6. And then use one of these cards to bounce that Lizard Blades before it deals damage to us. Probably want to use Otawara. Use the more expensive card first, because it's easier to hold up the mana to cast Fading Hope than it is to hold up the mana to use Otawara. And obviously we can't play Otawara as a land here. We've already got one on the board. Alright, so a really threatening attack with Lizard Blades because they've got Life of Toshiro Umezawa as well. Definitely looks like our opponent has drafted some great Neon Dynasty decks and slapped them together for this event here. I should have pre-combated the Dream Shacklegeist. I forgot about the trigger to keep the Etching of Kumano tapped down. Guess we could bounce our own Dream Shacklegeist there. Yeah, maybe. That was a really sloppy line. We should have done that pre-combat to keep a thing tapped down, or just not cast it at all so that we don't lose it to Life of Toshiro Umezawa. So that the 2 lines that would have been solid would have been cast it pre-combat, keep Etching tapped, and then Fading Hope it when they try to target it with Life of Toshiro. Or just do not cast it at all. We chose the worst mixture of the 2 lines for sure. Alright, they are down to 5. They are just dead. So, looks like it will not matter. In the end, we are attacking for 6 in the sky, luckily. For exactsies. And there is the concession from our opponent. We are now 1 victory in. See what our random rare reward is. First prize is going to be Cody Vociferous Codex. Very fun Strixhaven card there. Very controlling hand here. Is this keepable without any creatures? Just having like 1 creature to get out to start actually pressuring your opponent is so important in these decks. But this is very good defensively. Just so much action when it comes to stopping our opponent. I don't know, I think I'm still going to mulligan. We need that 1 creature, and we do have it here. I'll keep this, get rid of the 4-drop card. Opponent starts with Haunted Ridge, so they are at least black and red over there. And I'll go ahead and just drop a stowaway here. They go for a Dragon Spark Reactor turn 2. Could be another Rakdos Artifacts deck here. Start getting in with Stowaway. We're not going to cast any spells here. One of the things that's so sweet about the Stowaway in this deck is with the amount of instants and flash creatures in the deck, it's very easy to pass the turn without casting a spell, so we can start just drawing a card every time we hit our opponent with this. The Seafaring Werewolf is really where you want to be with the Suspicious Stowaway. Spell Pierce this, they can just pay for it. We don't have the mana to phase out with Adversary. We could Fading Hope our creature back to our hand here. I think that's probably our best line. There's a Delver on top, let's keep that. Probably play Delver, hold up Spell Pierce here. Well, no, I guess we're going to Spell Pierce this scary vehicle, the Mukotai Soul Ripper. However, it will be daytime again. We'd like to flip it to night, so I think I'm just going to pass turn and cast a Spectral Adversary, actually. Another Mukotai Soul Ripper, sure. I guess if we can counter every creature they do, every creature they cast, then they can't even crew that anyway. So we'll just Essence Capture here. Unfortunately, our opponent does have a lot of cheap cards, so they keep casting 2 spells in one turn. It'll be hard for our Seafaring Werewolf to do its thing. Play a Delver, we can still hold up our 2 mana instants. They only have 2 cards left in their hand here. Voltage Surge, that is allowed. We cannot stop that. Reinforced Ronin. That's going to keep hitting us for 2 and getting more counters on Reactor. I think we have to stop that. Alright. We Stowaway, they just kill it with Reactor. Just awkward. But I guess the same happens to Adversary. We'll just drop the Stowaway, let them spend their Dragon Spark Reactor here. So Ken's Smelter, that's pretty good. It is big enough to crew the Mukotai Soul Ripper here. Which attacks pretty fiercely. Looks like they're going to hit for 4. We'll be down to 16. Geistlight Snare. Alright, let's get our hit in with Suspicious Stowaway. See if we draw something better than the Snare here. Just a land. I would not call that better than the Snare, so we'll do that past the turn. So the Stowaway is now the Seafaring Werewolf. An experimental synthesizer from our opponent. We can't counter that. We can counter something if our opponent doesn't have 3 mana up, but they have 3 mana up. Another synthesizer. I don't think that that's worth countering still. Yeah, the reactor's getting really big, but they're not likely to hit anything super great to cast here. The 2/2 tokens they get aren't that threatening to us because we have bounce spells in our deck that would be really good against them. Unfortunately, our opponent has cast 2 spells, so it's going to go just right back to day here. I guess the eggs do work really well with the Sokenzen Smelter. But, I mean, not really. They make 3/1s instead of 2/2 Vigilance, but they accomplish the same thing. They still just exile the 1 card. It's not really that much better than just sacrificing the synthesizers to their own effect. I'm going to sacrifice one of the Soul Ripper here. And they hit a Blood Tithe Harvester, and they don't have the red mana for that. Let's drop a Spectral Adversary. Do we want to drop an Adversary? We are taking a lot of damage here. We probably have to. Yeah, it's 8 damage. That puts us to 8 life. Let's get a trade-off here. Or we could just phase out the 5/4. Just take 3. Yeah, let's just take 3. And there's a Fading Hope. Perfect for those tokens. Keep them from just rerunning it over and over with the smelter. Yeah, we'll get rid of it right now, I think, even. Spell Pierce. Not going to be good this late in the game, I think. Just does not tax them enough. Another Geist Light Snare. We'll get rid of one of these. Oni Colt Anvil. Ooh, that's rough, and they have exactly enough to pay for it, even if we Geist Light Snare. I think we're out of it now. Dragon Spark Reactor plus Oni Colt Anvil can very quickly get us from this 13 to 0 single-handedly. Without even the need to attack. Yeah, they just lethal us this turn. They've got the mana for Dragon Spark Reactor. Triple Stowaway, here we go. It's kind of weird, but let's see how it does. Blade of the Oni, 3/1 Menace on turn 2. Very, very threatening. Take our 3 for now. They can reconfigure to make something a 5/5 Menace Demon as well. Another Blade of the Oni, okay. Alright. See how it is. Let's get our Dream Shackle Geist out and start locking down one of their creatures. Discard one of these stowaways for sure. Probably have to discard this Otawara. It's just a very expensive bounce spell in hand here. Death Touch Lifelink Menace. Oof. So we only have 3 mana here. We play another Stowaway, maybe? I guess we play Adversary instead so we can flip our first Stowaway to Nighttime. Just bounce one of their creatures. Definitely discard Otawara and play the island. Now we can play Adversary and hold up Geist Light Snare even. Or play Stowaway and hold up Adversary. No, I don't want to cast anything during our turn. Let's get the Nighttime coming in. The Seafaring Werewolf. Take 6. Let's see if they want a ninjutsu here. Nope. Alright. Patchwork Automaton. Geist Light Snare that and drop our Adversary. Another Geist Light Snare, really nice. Slam on in. Draw a card. Another Dream Shackle Geist. That'll be really, really nice in the future. We bounce one of their creatures, counter whatever spell they try to cast this turn. I'm not going to have the mana to hold up a Memory Deluge. I'll put that on the bottom here because I'm going to cast Dream Shackle next turn. Recast Blade of the Oni, counter it. Draw for turn. Drop Dream Shackle. Lock both their creatures down. Attack all, and we kill them next turn. Alright, they scooped them up. That is our second victory of 3 with the mono blue tempo deck. We got a Minion of the Mighty. Nice little kobold friend to slam down a dragon for free. Fun card, a little hard to make it work, but it's really fun when it does. Alright, we're on the play with a turn 1 Delver. That is what it is all about. Let's go. Let's get this show on the road. Alright, Delver of Secrets. Turn 1, pass the turn, see what they're playing with their Wanderer sleeves. Mono red, yep. Turn 1 Voldaren Epicure. This is going to be a tough matchup for sure. Holding up our Fading Hope here, but it is not good against their creatures with Enter the Battlefield effects that are also only 1 mana, like Voldaren Epic here. Ooh, Rakdos. Again, this time might actually be Rakdos Vampires instead of just Rakdos Aggro or Rakdos Artifacts. I really want to play against just like a big, slow green deck. That's what this deck is like really good against, I think. Do we hold up our Geistlight Snare or just our Fading Hope and cast Stowaway? I think I'll just hold up Fading Hope. The only information that we have is that they're Rakdos, and they've played 1 Epic here. So who knows what's coming here. Well, it is a sick non-creature spell, unfortunately. So Fading Hope doesn't do a boatload against it. It is good against their token. So I mean, we are just going to bounce the token here, probably. Now we'll become a Kiki-Jiki eventually. It's going to take a little bit of time to do that. Got an Essence Capture coming up, sure. That way I can flip Delver. Let's see what we draw into here. Probably should have waited on the land. Could double Essence Capture. We can't double Geistlight Snare. Alright, we're outracing our opponent now for sure. We've got 5 power on the board, but they could probably pretty easily cast 2 spells here. Flip it back to daytime to make our Seafaring Werewolf just a 1/1 again. Take 1 from the Voldaren Epic here. They drop a land for turn, 4 mana up, and a blood token. Not a treasure token. They go for a Meathook Massacre, a definite Geistlight Snare there. That is not okay. Got a Memory Deluge up now. Super good. Slam in for 5 and draw a card off the Seafaring Werewolf. We hit another Seafaring Werewolf. Yeah, I'll drop that down, hold up an Essence Capture here. Now our opponent will really want to cast 2 spells in 1 turn if they can. Fable of the Mirror Breaker has flipped, but Reflection of Kiki-Jiki does not have haste. So they've got the Kiki-Jiki, dropping an Onicult Anvil. We only have counterspells to counter creatures, so that definitely resolves here. All of our creatures are unblockable by their stuff. We hit for 5 next turn, even if they flip it back today. All they have to do is cast 1 more spell to do that. Looks like they're going to sack the blood token to the Onicult Anvil to make a 1/1 construct instead and drain us for life, potentially. They're reading the Onicult Anvil and the blood token here. I think if they crack the blood token, the Anvil still will trigger and give them a construct. They just won't gain the life. Yep, that is the case. So if all they want is the 1/1, they can just crack the blood. Looks like they do want the life drain as well, so they'll tap the Onicult Anvil here. They're going to go ahead and Voltage Surge to kill the Insectile Aberration, making the Seafaring Werewolves flip back to being suspicious stowaways. I should have held on to that land, because I have to discard cards when I draw now. Dream Shackle Geist is the draw off the first one, which is pretty good. Would have been way better pre-combat, though. We still definitely want to cast it here, I think, because we've got 5 mana up, so we can cast it and hold up a capture. I think we discard a capture. We're very far from flashing back a Memory Deluge, so the idea that we can discard one and not lose on value isn't that appealing. Because we still need 2 more lands to get to flashback on Memory Deluge. Alright, Reflection of Kiki-Jiki does pop off here. They make a copy of Voldaire and Epicure to hit us for an additional damage when it enters the battlefield and get another blood token that they can then sacrifice to Oni-Cold Anvil, and they've top-decked Sorin the Mirthless, a very good planeswalker that spits out a life-linking flyer here. We do hit them back kind of hard. We hit them back for 5, but things are quickly running away from us here. They can even use Reflection of Kiki-Jiki to make a copy of their flyer. Yep, it just has to be a non-legendary creature. They are allowed to copy tokens. Yeah, Reflection of Kiki-Jiki popping off is probably going to cost us this game here, so not holding up the counterspell that could have countered that. Gonna be the line that costs us in the end. Because we can fight through a Sorin. Dream Shackle guys can just tap down the flyer, but when they have Reflection of Kiki-Jiki down as well, can't really do that. Got a Memory Deluge here. It's been super awkward. We've held up Essence Captures like this whole time, and they've just had 0 creatures. We have hit Fading Hope here, which is nice. That is very useful. Let's tap the flyer. And then they're going to try to target it with Reflection of Kiki-Jiki, and then we'll just kill it in response. We'll kill Sorin here with our unblockables. Do 3 damage to them with our flyer. So they go for the Kiki-Jiki, counter that with Fading Hope. Keep Consider on top of our library for Delver of Secrets. And it'll only cost us 1 mana to just draw the next card with that anyway. Alright, things are actually looking really good here. We've got lethal next turn. They are going to be at 8 life, but we'll have 8 power, even if they cast a spell, so that our stowaways don't flip. Delver is going to flip off this Consider on top, so we'll have 6 in the sky and 2 unblockable. They're at 7 life, they'll be at 8 once they use Oni-Cold Anvil, so as long as they don't kill us here, it's looking like we can lethal them next turn. Kiki-Jiki to copy an Epicure is going to be scary for sure. An extra damage when it hits the board, and extra damage when it hits our face. Gives them a blood token of sacrifice to the anvil as well. Drain us down to 8 life. They pass to our turn. Our Delver will flip. Our werewolves have flipped as well. Potentially hitting for well over lethal because the werewolves managed to flip 2. See what they've got. Crack a blood token. Dig for an out here. And that looks like lethal. So that will be, I believe, the 3rd victory ending the Midweek Magic event today. Let's see what our cosmetic reward is. Yep, let's check out what the cosmetic reward is. Fingers crossed, anything but a Parallax card style. Oh, very nice. We got an adorable dog sleeve. It's got full knight armor on, and it's got its own blade there. A pouch of arrows. That is a fantastic cosmetic reward. Really happy with the rewards we've gotten from this Midweek Magic event. But that is going to end today's video. As always, if you're enjoying these videos and you want to see more, just stay tuned. You can like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send you some more of these videos. And we've got some great things on the horizon. April 1st, very soon from now, starts Dominaria Premier Drafts. Will be out for a week. I will be doing tons of those. Then we'll have Ravnica Mixer Sealed events the week after that, which I will be doing tons of, and Tinkerer Cube drafts the week after that. So the entire month of April is going to be chock full of great limited events, and we'll be getting tons of those videos your way very soon. So, as always, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.